Here we go. Hi, I'm Drew Yoder. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my senior internship experience at Goshen Brewing Company. Introduction to Goshen Brewing Company. It's located in downtown Goshen next to the Elkhart River. Entering its 10th year of operations this year. It's located within a recycled NIPSCO power facility, and their ingredients are locally sourced, and they're also 100% solar and wind powered. I'm going to talk about my role at Goshen Brewing Company this past fall. I was an inventory management intern. Goshen Brewing Company is a place with a wide variety of inventory, um, and this leads to different challenges for management. So they brought me in to see if I could help understand these challenges and maybe even resolve some of them. Next, I'm going to talk about some of the responsibilities involved with this role. At the beginning, it was mainly just building up my knowledge about the inventory that we carry, where it's stored, things of that nature. And then as I got more comfortable with that stuff, I began to create a inventory management system that managers can use periodically to check the monetary value of our inventory at a certain time. And I've also been assisting with ordering and receiving those processes. All right, next I'm going to talk about one of the core themes that we discussed in this internship and how I saw it in action at my internship. Um, One core theme that we discussed was culture, and I believe that Goshen Brewing Company has a great culture. Culture is something that we talk about in a lot of different business classes, and I think until you have an experience where you see it in person, um, you can talk about it all you want, but you don't really understand the importance of good culture. Um, a few examples of ways that I think Goshen Brewing Company has a good culture is one, they split all of their tips between service staff evenly, so there's no sort of rivalry or conflict between different teams. They're kind of dependent on each other to do well, so they can make as much money as possible. And I think that builds a stronger culture of helping each other out. And secondly, I believe that the community focus aspect of Goshen Brewing Company really strengthens the culture for employees as well. We host a lot of different events and stuff, and I think just having all these fun things going on kind of brings everyone together. Everyone that works at GBCO is very tight knit and looks after each other. Uh, from our course that I want to discuss is management and leadership at GBCO. Management and leadership, as we saw through the various articles, is evolving, going away from this much more micromanagement style to a more free-flowing, empowerment-based style of leadership, and a style of leadership that kind of cares for all aspects of our health, not just your performance. An example of this that I saw at GBCO was how they do their evaluations and the whole formatting for that. They do what's called check-ins, which are very there's not a lot of stakes to them. They're very informal, just kind of checking in with each other and seeing how you're doing in the kitchen as well as outside the kitchen, or in the restaurant, outside the restaurant, wherever you tend to work. I think this kind of check-in takes away the pressure of an evaluation and some of the negative things that can come from an evaluation, and kind of prioritizes how you're doing as opposed to how your performance is. And then another aspect of this new style of leadership that I saw was the empowerment of employees. They trust employees to do a good job after they've been trained, so they don't have to be constantly micromanaged to make sure they're doing things correctly. As you can see, this is a picture of the prep board that the kitchen does, and it just is made for them, the list, but then they're just set to complete all the tasks, and no one really watches it and make sure they're doing it correctly. They're just kind of expected to. So I think that's empowering for employees. All right, next I'm going to talk about some of the Goshen College core themes and how I saw them at play at my internship. I'm going to start with servant leadership. Uh, I think servant leadership is something that I saw a lot at Goshen Brewing Company. Servant leadership is described as leadership that empowers self and others, as well as a healthy understanding of self and others that is reflected in relationships of interdependence and mutual accountability. Um, I saw a lot of empowerment with my creation of my inventory system. There wasn't a whole lot of like looking over my shoulder and making sure I was getting like good progress done. Like they trusted that I was making progress and doing good work. And I think that felt good to not have someone just constantly breathing down my neck, making sure I'm doing what I need to be. They just trust me to do it. And then, secondly, they value knowledge and skill over hierarchy, which I think is very crucial. Like in some places, if you're a manager, then you make all the decisions. At GBCO, they rely more on like what you're capable of and what you're good at. So there are times where like a lower mid level management person would have president over a top manager because they have more experience with something. So I think that's also a good example of servant leadership. I want to talk about global citizenship at GBCO. Um, Global citizenship is described as being stewards of human systems in our environments, which are shared by the entire world. I think Goshen Brewing Company does a fantastic job of trying to be as sustainable as possible. Like I said earlier, they're 100% powered by renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. They have tons of solar panels on the roof. And then they also source all their inventory from local vendors, which you can see in the presentation. Both of these aspects of Goshen Brewing Company, they add costs, but they're also good for the environment, and that's something that Goshen Brewing Company really strives to do is not hurt the environment with their operations. All right, next I want to talk about some of the career insights gained. This internship experience really just affirmed for me that inventory management and operations are some of the areas of business that I am most interested in. I just think that with the way my brain works, I think these processes and systems are things that just make sense to me, and I really enjoy doing stuff with inventory and operations. Next, I want to talk about just some key takeaways from my internship experience. The first one I want to talk about is it takes a long time to really get good at inventory management stuff, and like especially the forecasting of demand for a upcoming week and trying to order inventory for that. It takes a long time to really understand what you're doing with that stuff. And then secondly, the creation of a new system takes time and practice and can get frustrating. So it's important that when you are creating a new system that you just have patience and continue to work it out, and eventually things will click and it'll work how it's supposed to. And then finally, inventory management best practices really vary depending on the industry. I've had experience doing inventory stuff in retail, and it's completely different than a restaurant due to things like the inventory at a restaurant being spoilable, and the things at a retail store can be quite uniform in their appearance, like shoe boxes. So there's different things that you need to do and prioritize depending on the industry. If I was to talk to my younger self after completing this internship experience, I'd have a few professional and personal tips for myself that will come in handy down the line. The first one would be to never write off knowledge or a skill that you're learning that seems unuseful or you're not quite sure how it's going to apply to your life in the moment. There's been a lot of times where I've found myself like relying on different Excel things that I've learned that I never thought I would use again. So that would be one thing for sure. And then um, the next thing would just be not doubting yourself and to kind of believe in your abilities to overcome obstacles and create something out of nothing. Just kind of have a little bit more self belief in yourself at times. I think that's kind of what I would give myself as tips after this experience. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and I have appreciated getting to share a little bit about my time at Utica.